that trade their bodies to go and get the role. They get to the point where they have their Oscar, they have their money, but they don't have their dream. They don't have the soul that they started with. So it's like achieving don't mean anything. If I get all the Nobel Prizes from doing all of this, but in the process I have to trade out all of my integrity to do it so that they can stay in place, what benefit is that if I lose my integrity? You got to go in as a principal.
How many men do you know who still stick to their values? How many guys haven't given up their manhood just to make it in Hollywood? Honestly, it's rare to find someone who hasn't sold a part of their soul to be successful there. That's why Terrence Howard is going viral right now, like he just got elected president. People are wondering how he became a big Hollywood star without getting caught up in all the shady stuff. He even said he turned down Diddy, who allegedly tried to sleep with him. And the way Diddy went about it has people talking. Folks online are putting the pieces together and saying Diddy has used the same moves on others before. And wow, it's wild. Let's break it all down.
He invited me for weeks, asking me to come and teach him how to, wanted me to be his acting coach for a while. Go there and he's sitting around just looking. I'm like, okay, what's the material you want to work on? He's just looking at me. Then next thing you know, okay, hey, will you help me? I want to hear your music. So I come over there and I play the music. And he's sitting there just looking at me, like waiting. Okay. So then my assistant was like, he wants to hang out with you next week. And I was like, for what? He's like, I think he's trying to. That's what my assistant.
Now, I'm not saying Terrence is 100% telling the truth, but I'm not saying he's lying either. Still, think about it. A guy randomly asking another guy to hang out when they're not even friends? That's kind of weird. It wasn't about business. It wasn't for a deal. So, what was it for? Brother love? It really sounds more like a guy trying to ask a girl out. Super suspicious. That's why people believe Terrence when he says this is Diddy's usual behavior. To back him up, some folks are bringing up the time 50 Cent talked about how Diddy approached him too, invited him to a party, and even asking to take him shopping.
He says things, he doesn't even know what he's saying is like fruity. He says something fabulous and he goes, yo, no, but me and you, we ain't party. Like, we need to party. What are you talking about? Then when people say that to me, I get a little uncomfortable. When you see Jadakiss put his head down, like, while we stuck here right now, and the cameras is rolling, everybody see, don't make like it's just me, man. Fluffy do some like a little fluffy stuff now going on. Like he said something to me one time, a long time ago. He told me he'd take me shopping. I looked at him like, what'd you just say? Let me move, man, before I do something. You gonna make me mess up the wedding. Let me get out of no, dude, take me. That's what a guy says to a girl.
But the real question is, how many men could say no to that kind of offer, especially before they've made it big? Keep in mind, Terrence and 50 Cent were already successful when Diddy approached them. So it's hard to tell if they said no because they didn't need him or because they wanted to stay true to themselves. But what about the ones who may have said yes because they were struggling and saw no other way out? Take the rap of the game, for example. He grew up in a rough city with lots of crime and poverty. He was involved in gangs and street life just to survive. By 2001, he started focusing on music and dropped a hot mixtape. Somehow, that mixtape ended up in Diddy's hands. Soon after, Diddy reached out, talking about record deals and making the game a star. But instead of getting straight to business, Diddy showed him the luxury life. Parties, shopping sprees, expensive gifts. The game got a taste of what it felt like to live big. And let's be honest, after going through so much, that kind of lifestyle is hard to turn down. When someone's been through hell, they might ignore the warning signs because escaping the struggle is the only thing on their mind.
Wasn't Puffy interested in working with you also?
Yeah, Puff. I was running around with Puff for a minute, but we was just partying, man. Puff liked to party. So that's basically all we did. I think the few times I was running around with D-Mac and Puff, we just did a bunch of partying. We might have went to the studio once or twice, but I didn't get to record nothing. I was just,
Yo, at this point, it's pretty easy to see why the internet is backing Terrence Howard. People have started to believe that Diddy uses money and power to take advantage of those desperate to make it big, putting them in shady situations. Terrence also talked about something else that's been going around online, how some of the people who went through this kind of stuff turned to drugs or alcohol to cope. He said these victims lost their sense of self, their spiritual strength, and try to recover from that kind of trauma is really hard. He even pointed out that many of these people had gone to Diddy's parties. That's a serious accusation. Then Justin Bieber's name came up. Terrence said, "It's exactly what's going on with Justin." Now, in Justin's case, it's unclear if he knew what he was getting into, especially since rumors say he was underage when he started going to Diddy's parties. But if you've seen Justin's recent behavior online and heard the talk about Diddy showering him with expensive gifts to bring him into a circle, it kind of lines up with what Terrence is saying.
But when you give up your manhood, I've never seen somebody recover from it. That was all the people that went to the Puffy parties. That was all the people that did all those things thinking that there was never going to be a consequence for what they were doing. Get punked out and pimped out by some greater desire. You shouldn't have a greater desire than being a man. So I believe that's a big problem with a lot of the actors out there because they get fluid. And next thing you know, once it go fluid, it's gone. You don't have any foundation to pull yourself back from. So maintain your man card, no matter what.
So you see some guys struggling with that. You see Bieber struggling with that. You see some of these guys struggling with that.
They can't get it out of their head. They can't get it out of their head. The things that they did, no matter how they did it, whether they were drunk or high or whatever, you gave up your man card. You need therapy. And that's the thing that hurts them the most. And so they end up every way to try and get rid of any principles there are. And that's what the business.
Phew, what a mess, y'all. The way people are talking about this story online. It's like Diddy uses money and power in all the wrong ways, especially on folks trying to make it in the industry. It's almost like he had a hold on anyone who was on the rise. One fan even said, "I think Diddy tried to bend everyone over." But on the flip side, many people are praising Terrence Howard, calling him a real man who didn't sell out. Another fan said, "For the first time on the internet, I've seen a real man who didn't compromise his values just for fame. You've got a new fan in me." But what do you think? Do you believe what Terrence Howard is saying about Diddy? Did Diddy really try to pressure him like that? And did he use his influence to pull other up-and-coming artists into his circle for the wrong reasons? Drop your thoughts in the comments below.